Welcome to Let's Learn 2-Point Hospital. All right, hi, this is Attica and welcome back to 2-Point Hospital. We're continuing working on Mitton University, our research hospital, and we've got it up to a 1-star. We've got great progress on our 2-star. So in this video, we're going to continue working toward that 2-star rating and keep on pumping out the training and the research as we've been doing so far. And in the last episode, we built just a really nice research facility in a dedicated building. And now we're just looking at what do we need to do to finish off. And really, we're in great shape. We're just got a little bit of training to do and to cure a few more patients. And we are looking good to hit our 2-star rating. So we got a challenge, a staff request to make the hospital more attractive. So we're basically just planting flowers everywhere, or plants everywhere. There are other things we can do we'll show in a minute to have a small impact, but the plants have the best impact. And in fact, if I had a little more kudos, I would go out and get the roses. They have a bigger impact than the plants do. They require more water, but they have a much bigger impact. But I'm just going out through here, going through all the different rooms, carefully putting flowers or plants in the room so that it won't mess up the room flow of traffic, and then out in their hallways and what have you. We're also grabbing some posters to see, they improve your attractiveness, and I want to see, but if you can see there, they have a minimal effect. Just to see that they just give a little tiny impact. So you really need lots and lots of posters and wall paintings and stuff to have an impact. They're pretty good if you have a narrow hallway. They can do some damage there, but you can see you plop one down and you almost can't tell you've done it. There's a good example, just a few tiles of impact. The plants have a much greater impact. However, of course, the thing with the plants is they all have to be maintained by your janitors. And there I'm looking at the rosebud and kind of or the rose bush and wishing I had that, but we don't yet. But that'll get fixed here momentarily. The whole thing about kudos will get fixed in our next episode, actually, because I've been a little remiss on something. And the other thing is we've got these anatomy posters, and they do two things. They improve the attractiveness, and you can see putting several into a room like that now that's starting to turn into a very attractive room. But they're also giving us training speed bonuses, and that's the main reason for putting them in these training rooms. So that training room is becoming very attractive, so it'll be very pleasant for the people who are there, and it's their training is going to go faster and faster with each one that we place on those walls. So that's one of those I'm willing to have it look a little stupid. Yes, it's a little stupid to have so many of those posters going everywhere. And you can see it has an impact on another room. If you put it in here, it makes it attractive right near it. if you're right next to it, it's helpful. But get back to this training room where it can really help, where it does the double duty. And it's leveling up our room as we go along. You may have also noticed I have total disrespect for windows in this game. I don't pay attention to windows when I'm placing stuff most of the time. I avoid them when I can if there's plenty of room to place things to get what I want done. But I don't pay attention to them. You also may have noticed I don't build any. I'm not sure why you would build a window in a hospital. I don't think there's anybody who wants to be seen while they're being examined or wants to look out while they're being examined, and so I don't build them unless I am missing a benefit of them. I will continue not to build them. And you might also, I've been waiting for somebody to comment on this, but you also might notice that there's no benches in any of my hospitals. The only time I ever built one was when I was asked to as a task in the tutorial. And then I immediately deleted them. Now, why is that? Because if you look at the patients, they don't have a comfort rating, and the benches help with comfort, and it actually slows them down if they sit in benches and then have to get up and move around, get up and get down and all that. I just like them to stand in a nice orderly queue when they have to wait on a room. And of course the main thing is don't want any waiting period. So the whole point of the hospital is to have patients just move expeditiously, as the word goes, from room to room, and benches just aren't part of it. So as I've said, I'm kind of somewhere in this between total form follows function and trying to make it look somewhat realistic and pretty, and but at the end of the day, I'm gonna go toward function every time. If it's between function and pretty, function will always win. So here we're trying some notice boards to see how they do, and they help. They help your attractiveness of the hallways, your attractiveness of the rooms. But again, the impact just isn't. There's not much bang for the buck. See there, even in that small hallway, just not much help. You would have to be just plopping these things down all over the place. And again, that would go back to if your thing is to make your hospital look really attractive and really cool and really realistic, then you would take the time to do that and put more of them in there. I'm more interested in meeting the objectives, so I'm not as inclined to spend time with all this. Even the attractiveness. The attractiveness, I like it because it obviously makes everybody happier, and that's absolutely worth it. So to make your patients happier, make your staff happier, that's a great thing. But I'm really doing it here just because I got a challenge from staff to do so. So here I am, trying to hit that goal of 70%. And if somebody has a better way to kind of plan out placement of plants and how to build up the attractiveness without just placing plant after plant after plant, please put it in the comments. Let us know. We'd all like to improve. And for those of you kind of new to my channel, the whole deal is the channel's here for all of us to get better, including me. So if you've got an improvement opportunity for us, by all means. And this is one area where I haven't done any study or really thought about how am I going to make the hospital attractive without driving myself crazy doing this kind of stuff, just putting posters all over the place. And maybe that's the answer. Maybe this is what you do. Maybe you do put posters in, and maybe you design your rooms, so that all that is taken into account. Now, I'm willing to accept that if that's the answer, but I'm hoping there's a different answer to, a more simple, less tedious way to beautify the hospital. There we go. We hit the goal. Excellent. And you'll notice as soon as we hit the goal, I quit doing it. so I may have to work on that. I may have to work on my willingness to be teacher's and place all those plants and stuff. I'm sure it looks much better to our staff and to our patients, but wow. Okay. All right, enough of that. I'll stop complaining. Well, at least for the moment. Now we're going to keep going kind of in that same vein, though. We're going to go ahead and level up these more of our offices. Over time, we're just slowly leveling them all up, and we're also putting in the things that the staff needs, drink and snacks and that kind of thing, as close to where they normally do their work as we can. And that's the basic design principle of these rooms. And then we use our Gold Star Awards to go ahead and level the room up. And spread them out a little bit to make sure that, no matter where you are in the room, you're going to be near a Gold Star and getting its influence. But the bottom line really is just put them in the room wherever until you get enough to hit that level 5. Now we've got a nice level 5 GP office. And we're going to go through that process on several of these rooms. I think I'm just going to stop talking. There isn't much to say about it. I just said what needs to be said, and we can just watch as this goes through the process for a while. And you notice we're so close to our 2-star goal, but this video still lasts for a while, and the reason being it's really on pause while I do all this. I guess I could have just let it run, but I tend to play in fast forward, pause, fast forward, pause. That's the way I tend to play almost all these games.
Doctor to research, please. Maintenance announcement. Toilets need routine servicing.
Now we had a bit of a queue there in psychiatry, but that's because we had one person being trained and we had one of our psychiatrists doing the training. But now we've got our psychiatrist back out there, so that queue should clean itself up fairly quickly. And we've got some nurses trained in injection management. We want to make sure that we have them working there, a couple of them. We've got another one who can swing in, and we're also going to allow them to, we've got one dedicated to it and a couple that do injections and a couple of the other healing functions so that we have some extra coverage. And we're still, again, I've said this in the other videos, we're still not quite at that place where we, want to have a fully strict rota of everybody completely assigned to, you know, what it is they work on or what they've been trained for. And we want to bump up our ward management now, so we're going to bring in an outside teacher to train one of our folks in ward level 2 so that we can turn around and train other people on it and make our ward more efficient and do a better job of both diagnosis and treatment. Now we've finished the research for fluid analysis, which gives us even more diagnostic capability. We want to have our fluid analysis close to the rest of our diagnostics. So we're going to start, again, we're slowly moving our treatment rooms out away from the diagnostic area. And we'll just keep bumping them out farther and farther away if we need more and more space to put in our other pieces of the pie, our other analysis and what have you, or diagnostic rooms. So fluid analysis is a 3x3, so we're going to go with 3x4s because that's the space that we kind of have, and so we'll go 3x4 and have them open onto the that hallway where the toilet and staff room are. All right, so we've built a new diagnostics room, so we need another GP room to match with it to make for a short walk for people coming out of that room, and just to keep the right ratio of GP offices to our other diagnostic offices. So we've got that 4x4 space there. We might as well build a nice big GP office. As I'm doing it, I remember that I didn't put heating in the fluid analysis room. And again, our process of putting that desk so that the patient's seat is as close to the door as possible, and then putting our niceties for the doctor as close to the doctor's desk chair as possible, so that so we increase the likelihood that he or she is right there where they need to be when a patient comes in, and that when the patient does come in, it's a very, very short trip for them to get to where they need to be to get the consultation over and done with and get that patient on their way to whatever they have to, wherever they need to go next. Since we've expanded our GP rooms, it's time to think about expanding our number of GPs. So we've got a new hire and one we had hired earlier as a fill-in. So we're just going to start training with our one of our existing GPs, and we'll have a couple more folks trained in General Practice 1 and ready to help us out in our new General GP office. And we're continuing now to, well, now we're taking that policy of let's get the new techs if we can get them. So we're getting the X-ray. And once we get that, we'll probably go right back to the research training. So now we've expanded the hospital with another more advanced diagnostic, the fluid analysis, matched it up with another GP so we don't start creating queues for our general practice folks. My therapist says I need to relax more. Find a hobby. If you have any suggestions, please send them in. I'll keep you posted on how my search goes. Anything's better than my last hobby, collecting traffic cones. So all we're waiting on now is to cure a few more folks. And we've got good flow going through the hospital, so that should not take very long.
Pharmacy, calling nurse.
Aha, finally do it. Finally, after all this time, we put a radiator in that toilet.
Training course completed. Deluxe clinic calling doctor.
So here we've got a doctor that's been trained in psychiatry, and I want to make sure that he stays in psychiatry. And the rota needs to be cleaned up a little bit more. We're starting to get to that critical mass where we can start being a little more strict with our rota and have less people floating around. But now, there we go. We've got our 2-star. We open up. There's a great one. The Encyclopedia Bookcase 2. That's a great one for our training rooms. Easy Scan 3 is nice to have, and we've hit our 2-star. So good job so far. This hospital is shaping up into being a really good research hospital, and it'll be a strong addition to our network of hospitals. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope it'll help you become a better player, and I hope you'll join us for our next 2-Point Hospital video. Thank you.